3 of What If Naruto left the village and says Sasuke. Here we go. Last time in the Naruto What If, we left on a pretty cool cliffhanger, actually, where Deidara and Sasori, I remember, was hanging back. Not that I forgot in the previous one, I'm just repeating that for my own sake and your sake. That he's actually hanging out. He was waiting on Deidara to get back. But Deidara went to go with Gar. Their battle ensued. But as Deidara was about to drop the giant F-off bomb, Naruto threw out his Inferno Rasengan, combined with the Tornado Fist, which basically just made it bigger, and wiped out a good chunk of the doll, just incinerated it, which mitigated a lot of the explosion. And now Naruto and Gaara are both facing off there. And what I would thought was a cool shot with him, Naruto kind of just standing there in his Naruto the Last get-up. So that's where we left off. Deidara is now wondering, realizing, we were wondering where you went, Naruto. But we were keeping tabs on you for a while, but unfortunately that damn Toad Sage was able to, get the drop on, or keep us at arm's length for a good while. And then you just up and disappeared. Who knew you'd be here? 2 birds, 1 stone. Now, he says that, but in his head, he's like, I wasn't prepared for this. I don't have nearly enough clay, and I'm down a freaking arm. This might be problematic. I was like, so you're part of the guys who are trying to go after us, huh? I was like, we don't like to brag, but yeah, that's me. I'm the greatest artist in the world. I don't know if he ever called himself that, but you can call me Deidara. Yeah, I'd love to stay in chat. I just need to collect your friend here, and then we'll be back for you. How about that, Naruto? That sounds great. It's like, yeah, and all of a sudden, Naruto's eyes just go red. He's got the chakra. It's like, nah, yeah, I don't think so. Because remember, Naruto can kind of just do that instantly now, almost like Super Saiyan. And just by focusing a little bit, he can go into one-tailed mode. But Naruto just basically just goes into chakra mode, and he's like, yeah, I don't think so. Like, yeah, maybe I'll come back with a little reinforcements. And he tries to fly out. All of a sudden, he just hears the term Gale Palm. Oh, come on, you think I can't dodge? All of a sudden, Naruto's right at him. Between Naruto's speed and the Gale Palm, Naruto's right at him. What Naruto did, and what I think is a kind of cool technique Naruto, being as crafty as he is, could figure out, is that he can kind of fly now. What I mean by that is this. Because he can put so much chakra into the techniques, and the Gale Palm is the technique that if you do it right, you just don't need hand signs. He can pretty much just, boom, blast himself up like a propulsion system, and then just course correct himself like you would in space, pretty much. Where just like, this way, that way, Naruto can basically just do that. And so Naruto's right there. And he's guys like, you're not going anywhere. And it's a tornado fist explosion. And just blasts Deidara's bird out of the sky. And Deidara just wasn't prepared for that. Gaara, and then the sand comes and tries to grab at Deidara, who's like, this is not good. And Deidara, I think, is able to get out of the way. But unfortunately, what he's not prepared for is multiple clones of Naruto just rushing in at him, all with Rasengans in their hands. Just to beat down on him. Luckily, though, as we saw with what happened in the original when they went after to save Gaara and his fight with Kakashi and Naruto, I do think what happens is he basically uses a clay clone to substitute out of there. Basically a clay substitution, and then he more or less does what he did against Kakashi and Naruto, and basically detonates, realizing I can't get out of this without without serious damage or not at all. And he doesn't have his he would have, if he's gonna try to take them out, use his clay, I can't remember, was it C0? Was that what it was called? Was that the C0 where he just eats the clay and just turns himself into a giant bomb? But no, I don't see him doing that one at this moment. So he does the whole sacrificial thing. Between Gaara and Naruto, they are both able to basically contain it using a combination of wind, fire from Naruto's part, and Gaara's sand. Contain the explosion as best they can, although there's still some damage. Luckily, no one is hurt. Deidara, though, using, combination substitution and digging through the dirt, is able to get back to Sasori, who's just like, what happened? You don't have the one tails. What happened? What happened, Deidara? So yeah, we need to have a talk with the boss. It looks like we weren't given the proper information. There were two Jinchuriki in the sand. Explain. I'll tell you on the way. So they go back to their base or where they are, and they're like, "Yeah, the Nine Tails Jinchuriki is in the leaf or in the sand right now. The Nine Tails, we haven't been able to track him for a while. Even Zetsu's been lost about where he went. Uh, so that's where he's been. Interesting. So the Nine Tails fox is within our grasp after all, and in the same village as the Sukaku. It's a perfect opportunity. Uh, and then Deidara is just like, come on, my mission is still the One Tails. Sasori, you go after the Nine Tails. Sasori, go after the Nine Tails. That is your parameter. Deidara will still go after the One Tails. You will go together this time. Uh, and so yeah, they're gonna have to lure them out of the village for sure. So a few days pass, and they're making sure everything's okay. Gaara and Naruto are fully, recovered and all that, and the Akatsuki, once again, they don't try to evade. This time they basically try to lure them out, saying like, yeah, and I imagine what would happen is there's a little clay bird saying, that's one of Deidara's. And what happens though is the bird drops the scroll. Like, and Deidara's basically, look, we're gonna give you the option. We could come in there, you could come out to us, and we can just do it the easier way, or I can just literally throw a giant bomb and blow up the entire village this time. Except you won't know when it will happen, but you know I can do it. Your option, boys. And so, yeah, Deidara's basically holding the village ransom. Now, we know Gaara's Sand could protect the village. We do. And with Naruto's help, they're sure. But the problem is they have no idea when Deidara would do it. So it makes sense. Like, we better go out. It makes sense for them to go out and confront them. However, Chio then steps in and is like, I'll be going with you. It's like, Granny Chio? What? Sasori was my grandson. I owe it to him. This is my burden to carry. No, or burden to bear. And so, yeah, Naruto, Chiro, and Gaara go out and confront them. And they're in the middle of the desert, admittedly, so... so you did not come alone. I didn't expect you to, though, but to see such a familiar face. How have you been, Granny? Better than you look, apparently. Sasori. Though I should assume this isn't your real form. Hiding in your puppets like you always did you, Sonny? It's like you certainly know me well, but if you want to live, Chio, I suggest you walk away now. You're not my target. My eyes are on the Nine Tails. Hey, don't forget about me, main man. And, we know Deidara got his arm back eventually, so maybe they found it or something like that. So he's got his new arm there. So it was stitched down by Kakuzu. We know that because we saw the stitch marks in there. I see you got your arm back. No thanks to you. And so Deidara goes right after Gaara again, throwing the bombs. And Gaara's Sand comes up. Naruto, be careful. Knowing him, all of his weapons are laced with poison. So that's the way he's gonna play it, huh? And so Naruto immediately just goes instead into one-tailed mode as he starts firing Sunbow. And Naruto knows as good as his reflexes are, he's not gonna dodge it all. So he just instead goes in that, and then ching, 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 like it stops because of the chakra, which is acting like a go because he's got a one-tail cloak. I see. He's stopping the chakra as it is, and using his tails. Like, I think these are yours, and just fires them, and they embed a little bit into, Hiroku. Well, that was the name of the puppet, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it translates to like scorpion or something like that. So Sasori, it's like, you could throw it with that much force. Like, where do you think you're going? All of a sudden, Naruto comes at, Naruto and Chio are, going tag teaming, and Naruto and Chio both, Chio tries to help Naruto. I'll control your movements, but her chakra strings are realize that are burned away by the Nine-Tails cloak and Naruto's cloak, so it's helping him keep Sasori's weapons at bay. But Naruto still brings out some clothes and starts basically speed blitzing Kakuzu. Not Kakuzu, what am I talking about? Sasori. I brought up Kakuzu earlier. And Hiroko. So I guess in my mind that combined the two in some way that comes out the Kakuzu. Who knows? Anyway, he starts speed blitzing him. Now, we've seen even base ninjas be extremely fast. Like Minato is said, even without the his teleportation jutsu, to be like lightning. With the Flying Thunder God, he could literally just move at light speed, more or less, because he could just teleport instantaneously. Naruto in One-Tailed Cloak isn't nowhere near that fast, mind you, but he's still fast enough to speed blitz. And Sasori is not a speed-based fighter at all. The Hiroko puppet is designed for, tanky and taking some hits, lots of weapons in it, and Sasori is just a puppet in himself. So Naruto comes in, is able to pretty much bypass most of them. The tail comes in. Naruto knows that might be able to get through, but he counters just by blasting some wind jutsu and then point blank, fire style, dragon fire jutsu, just point blank, and Sasori has to get out of it. He just burns and blows up that puppet. It's like, well done, Naruto, but now the real fight begins. What do you mean? It's like, that wasn't his true form. And then Sasori's shocked to see, are you surprised, Granny Chio? Trio that I haven't aged today. But you've destroyed Hiroko. He was one of my favorites. But you'll have to be, once we take your tail beast, Naruto, you'll make a fine replacement. But until then, let me show you one of my true favorites. And then shows up, that can't be the third Kazekage, and explains the lore of the third Kazekage. And say, you have to be careful, Naruto. That I insist. And Naruto's like, fire style, fire dome jutsu, and all of a sudden, the Kazekage is enveloped in a fire. And even sounds like an interesting technique. Any hotter, and the flames might actually disrupt my chakra threads. However, it means if it were against any normal opponent, it actually could be quite effective. However, and then all of a sudden, boom, the Iron Sand, which would pretty much negate. I mean, they could heat up the Iron Sand, but it would pretty much negate the fire attack. It just blows up. It's no use against someone it's no use against someone with the ability of the Iron Sand like the Kazekage. Meanwhile, Gaara is still struggling, but Naruto does have a couple clones he sent out, and they're really. And the fight is pretty much kind of how it was when Gaara and Deidara first encountered each other. But Gaara's actually got the advantage because he knows a bit of what Deidara's got up his sleeve, and his sand is very versatile. Plus, there's no civilians here to threaten. So Deidara is. But Deidara still, once he's on the back foot, says, "Are you sure you want to just do that? You don't know what I placed in your village while we've been fighting. I could easily. Haven't you noticed my bombs take the form of little beauties like these?" And shows off like the spiders and stuff like that. The bird. After all, I sent a bird messenger there. What do you think happened to that bird messenger? Or the flock I may have sent prior? It's like he's trying to bluff him, basically. Now, to be fair, Deidara may have actually done that. But Naruto just calls him out on that. Oh, you mean all those clay creatures I found back there? It's like, please, you couldn't have found all of them already. It's like it's like all, and then all of a sudden it says the number, and Deidara's like, what? And it's like, yeah, oh yeah, come on, you really think I couldn't find all those things? It's not hard to find clay animals in a village, but you've been here the whole time. Then he just realizes like. Because he's not fighting the real Naruto. You bastard, you left clones back there, didn't you? Bingo! And then Naruto just comes in, wind style, wind blades! And all of a sudden these blades of wind come up and just slice open his birds. And then Gaara's stand then grabs him again and is like, son of a... No. This is over. This is Sasori, my man, could you really? And just sand coffin. And then just Deidara just before Sasori could even react. Now you might be asking, well, why doesn't he do a substitution here? It's because he didn't expect Naruto to completely one-up him. 2-on-1 with a Naruto who's composed and who's as strong as we've made him, along with Gaara. Oh no, I don't think Deidara is prepared for something like that. Like with Sasuke, he used was it the C3 that basically was the microscopic ones? He used C3, but with C3, the only one there that he would he can't risk killing them is the problem, because they need them. So he can't use the C3, and C0 is really just a big nuke. that would take his own life, and he just didn't have the chance to use it. And so really, it's a very real possibility that he would die here. But Sasuke's like, I see. So you really think so? Deidara didn't make it, but you really think that's gonna stop me, Naruto? And the third Kazekage continues. Gar's stand though comes in to counter the Iron Sand, and now they're fighting against Iron and Sand, all that. It's like, enough of this has gone off far enough. And he shows his puppet body. It's like, it can't be. Yes, I became one puppet, just like mother and father. It truly is. It truly is artistic, an eternal masterpiece. But your skill in the clone making is impressive, Nine Tails. But tell me, how many can you make? You could possibly count. And then Chio realizes something, like he's about to bring out more, so she brings out her treasure trove. I can't remember what they're called. And he's like, you once conquered a whole fortress, but I once conquered a whole country with these. So tell me, can you keep up? And then Naruto's like, looks at him, still in one tail mode, because one tail is, besides his base one tail is like the easiest one to maintain. Like Kurama can just kind of keep getting chakra from Kurama to maintain it if he really needs to. But Naruto's just looks at him like, it's like, please, even. It's like it's like, is that the best you? And Naruto just looks at him, and Sasori's like, is that really the best you've got? Shadow Clone Jutsu, and he does the Mizuki thing where there's about 2,000 clones there, because I think it said he did that one time. He made thousands of clones, or at least hundreds there. Like Naruto, easily 5 times the forces that Sasori made, and Sasori's even a little bit surprised. Like, how is it? Please, when I was a kid, I made over 1,000 clones. And that was before I was able to use the Fox's chakra. You've got nothing on this. And he just starts blitzing again the entire army. It's like, and Sasori is actually just like, ugh. It's like, I've become irritated. I've had enough of this. And he gets in the fray with his blades, with the high pressure water cannon, which immediately cuts through swaths of Naruto clones. And Chio then, however, is able to, throws the seal eventually at Sasori. He gets sealed, but ultimately tries to escape and attack them, only for Gar to just bind him. It's like, you're not going anywhere, Sasori. And it's like, I see, quite irritating. And then finally Chio and Gar basically, or Chio runs him through with the parent puppets, which I'm sure she would have brought out. He gives the final information about Orochimaru to him. Not that it really matters that much. Not that they're going there, but they feel it is a good opportunity to, give this information to the Leaf, because Orochimaru is a former Leaf nin. So it's information that's more prudent to them and more valuable to them. So Naruto and the gang they send the Hawk over there. It's like, so what will you do now, Naruto? And Naruto just thinks on it for a little bit. And he said, I don't know exactly. I think I'm just gonna wander a little. I could wander a bit, but the Akatsuki are after me, and as strong as I am, these guys, I think have to get even stronger. I agree. And it's like, your skill is you are pretty skilled there, Naruto. But I do take. Well, you're still welcome to stay here as long as you need. And Naruto is just thinking about it. And he's like, nah, I think I'll stay. No, you know what? I think it is. He does still stay there. The message gets out that, and they leave Naruto out of it. Jiraiya knows he's there. And to be fair, I think he's probably told a couple people. Like he's told Tsunade that he's there. And he told her, don't go after him. He'll come back on his own, but don't come after him. And Tsunade's just like, it's like, very well. And so they honestly send out just some Ambu. They send some Ambu out to try to get Orochimaru. That goes poorly. And then they send out, and then it's the death of Azuma. Because that's how far we go into this, is that the death of Azuma. And I think this is the point where everyone is there. We cut to the funeral of Azuma, I think was really what I'm trying to get at. And everyone's there, and everyone, is mourning. And and Konohama's like, we even see in I think in the anime, it was like Uncle Azuma, and all of a sudden, and then Konohama's morning, and a hand is put on his shoulder, and you think it's Haruka or something like that. He's like, yeah, and then he looks up, and his eyes go wide. It's like, hey Konohamaru, Naruto Nisa, and everyone's kind of, he says that, and everyone just looks all of a sudden, and yeah, Naruto is there. Upon learning of the death of Azuma, a teacher, someone who didn't look down on him either. Like most of the Jonin didn't look like, at least the teachers didn't look down on him. Someone who didn't hate him or anything like that. A good man, and his friend's uncle, but kind of like his little brother's uncle. And a sensei to people who also didn't necessarily hate him or anything like Choji and Shikamaru actually got into some trouble with him as when in their youth, from what we can tell. Ino was, I think Ino was kind of indifferent to Naruto, to be honest. We never got the impression she was cruel, like bitchy, like Sakura was. But she probably still found him annoying, admittedly. Like, we did get bits of it in the academy, but ultimately we just never saw much, like, disdain towards him from her. But anyway, he finally decided, okay, yeah, it's time for me to go back. And did Naruto spend any time training in the sand? Yeah, I think he did. In fact, I think he learned some wind jutsu. I think because Tamari's a wind jutsu user, I think he probably was training with her and all that. Now, am I forming a relationship? No. In this version, even though I think Tamari probably looks at Naruto and actually thinks he's grown to be quite handsome, I think I think this is very much they're like a friend, student, teacher kind of relationship. Yeah, I do think that. I do think though he probably learned like the wind scythe jutsu that she uses with her fan. Although, hell, I actually think she could have given him a fan. I think that's actually cool. Naruto getting a giant fan. His own fan, mind you, but a giant fan, being taught that by Tamari. And learning other jutsu with it as well. Like, I imagine he could, like, create, like a big old tornado if he really tries. And also learning to fly on the fan, like Tamari kind of does. I think that would be really cool, that one of the things he learned from Tamari is how to use a fan for wind jutsu. And combining it with fire jutsu means he can make giant flaming gusts of death. So, I actually really like that concept. I think, though, what we'll do is not give him the same type of fan as Tamari. I think what we'll do is actually give him, because what I like in concept is a goblin, like the goblin fan, like you get Oni, yes, but goblins in Japanese mythology are known to use fans to stoke giant flames and stuff like that, create gusts of wind. So I kind of like that idea where it's still a folding fan. It's a smaller fan than what Tamari has, something similar to Madara's war fan, but basically it actually could act like almost like a sword too. Very durable, because we know that the metal that forms fans can be very durable, and this would be kind of for battle. So when it's folded, it acts basically like a bladeless sword, almost like a kendo stick, but made of metal. But when it folds open, it's kind of like a big old, it is a fan. And so he can, fire huge gusts of wind, or if he's using fire and wind together, giant gusts of flames. I really like this concept. I honestly just thought it up on the fly, and I love it now that I say it. So we're going with that. Anyway, though, he's there, and everyone is just like, Naruto. He's like, you're back. And, everyone, Sasuke and Sakura, and Kakashi, like, he's back. And, he nods like, he's back. And so that is the end of part 3. Naruto has returned to the village. Because, like I said in part 2? Last part? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. He wasn't going to stay away from the village forever. If Sasuke, of all people, came back to the village, Naruto was going to come back. At least in this version. In a different version where he leaves for different reasons, or for like the whole what if he made his own village, what if that will eventually happen at some point. That's a different thing entirely. But in this version where it's just that he left the village, yeah. Don't worry. It makes sense that he comes back, in my opinion. Anyway, though, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know the review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.